My name's Stacey. I've been given an opportunity by Changemakers and the Byker YMCA to do an event on the Byker community. So today I'm going to interview Roberta Davidson. She's lived in the Byker area for about 52 years. So today we're going to just talk about the Byker community and what they do for people around here. Thank you, Roberta, for agreeing to do this lovely interview for me. I just wondered if you could tell me about Byker and about yourself, please.
I've lived in Byker all my life. That's like nearly 53 years, and I've seen a lot of changes from being a young child, teenager to adult. That, you know, the changes that Byker's had from the old Byker to the new Byker.
So can you just tell me about how it's changed from back then in the days to now?
Well, the housing's the biggest change. We used to live in mostly flats, old flats, they were old flats, with an outside toilet, no central heating. You only had you had a bath. If you had a bath, you were quite posh. You would have a tin bath, which you had. My mum had a gas boiler and she used to fill it with cold water, boil it up, and that was to fill the bath up.
So you said the biggest change was the housing then a bit?
Definitely, yeah. There's no comparison to what we used to live in. In the winter, there used to be ice on the insides of the windows because it was so cold. There were mostly 2 bedrooms, so you had a lot of families with, you know, big families living in two rooms. Now it's like, when we came from the old houses to the new, it was like luxury, it was posh, you know. We had central heating, we had lovely big rooms, really nice and warm, hot running water. We didn't have hot running water in the old houses. You had to boil everything. I suppose it's made you lazy. It's just, there was no comparison. Had a little garden. Most houses were just rows of streets with, you had no garden or nothing, you just had your backyard. So all had our little gardens, trees. There was no trees in Byker, apart from in the park. So there's lots of trees now in Byker. It went from one extreme to the other. Just no comparison really to what we did live in. A lot of people say that when the old Byker came down, so did the community spirit, but I don't agree with that. In the old Byker, you used to get like a couple of the mums in the streets that used to organise the trips down the coast and the big trip buses and things like that. But they see a lot of that community spirit's gone, like looking out for each other and things. I think maybe it has in certain parts, but there is pockets where there is a strong community spirit, where people do look out for each other, they do care about each other. There's still a lot going on through people like doing voluntary work. There's lots of voluntary work goes on in Byker, what people I think don't recognise outside the area, and it's got a really bad name for something that happened years and years ago, and it, as you say, mud sticks. But the people that say Byker is not a good place to live and they turn their nose up at it and all this, that and other, they need to come in and say what's going on basically, and how people do get on together, and these myths about Byker are not true. I find that people from the outside judge Byker, and everyone has a bad opinion about Byker. People that live outside the area, it's like, oh, I wouldn't live there. It's full of crackers, you know, afraid to walk the streets, there's loads of violence going on, all this kind of thing. And it's not true. It gives a really bad, you know, I'd like people to come into Byker and come and find out what's going on, and they'll see that it's no different to anywhere else. It's a good place to live. It's central for well, to be quite honest now, there's waiting lists to come into Byker because it's got a good transport system to the city, it's near the city, it's got good shopping facilities, the housing's good, and the whole place is good.
So has people changed since then and now?
I think the biggest change in Byker has been the cultural change. At one time, Byker, there might have been 1 or 2 black families, and now we've got families from all over the world that live here, which is, you know, brilliant. I think about 6 years ago, the council allocated, I don't know, 38 houses in Byker for asylum seekers. Reason being was that they thought that Byker was a good place to come and that the people would welcome the asylum seekers. So the change has been in people and in cultures, and it's been hard at times, I think, for people that already live here to accept changes. And I think it's been hard for the people that came in to this community, because it's mainly been an all-white community, to come in and from their cultures. So it's been a big shock on both sides. But I think people have just they've had to learn to get on with each other. And I know the place where I live on Dun Terrace, there's a really good community spirit there. And at the beginning, because of the tenants meetings we had, they thought would be a good place, the council, to start on this day, you know, keep a few houses aside when they became empty, because they thought that we would welcome the asylum seekers, and that would make them feel at home and would support them. And that's why I think at first they did pick Dun Terrace as a place for asylum seekers to come and live. When I've been doing my housing outreach about what they've went through back in their own country is absolutely horrific. A lot of them will never ever get over what's, you know, some of them have got, the scars will never heal. And I just think people need to give them a chance, give other people a chance, and look.
Do you think there's a lot of support out there for them?
You have support from the refugee service, but it's I think it's quite limited. Not knocking them, they've done a lot of good work. But for me, it's been put in an area where you don't know anyone, you've got limited English. It's, how do you get on? Do you know what I mean? Imagine you being dropped in somewhere in a totally different place, like say Africa, just say Africa, and you're standing in an airport with a bag, and you speak English, but then they've got their own language. It just reverse the role and try and imagine how. I've got a mixed race grandson, he's half African, half English, and I've experienced some problems in the community since he's been born. He's 2 now, well, he's coming up 3. When my daughter first had the baby, she used to get hacky looks. I'm not saying off the people that live around us, because it wasn't like that. It was more when she was in Morrison's or in the town. People like looked at her because she had a mixed race baby, and she felt really intimidated by it. And she's learned over time just to ignore these people, because at the end of the day they're ignorant. It doesn't matter what who the person is or what they are. The only difference is that the colour of their skin. It's the same person inside as you. They've got the same, you know, feelings and emotions. And it is hurtful when people sort of touch and look at you just because you've got a mixed race child. We're in the 20th century now, and I think people want to get a Britain sort of. There was an incident when we came out one day and there was 2 BNP stickers stuck to my gutter outside saying get the blacks out, and I tell you what, it was really, really hurtful. And I felt what people coming into this community that have had problems must feel like. It's really hurtful, it's really bad to think that people think of you like that. And at the end of the day, as I said before, what difference does it make what colour you are? You're the same person inside. There's good and bad in all cultures, when you're targeted like that, it brings home to you what someone coming in from the outside, with that, you know, whether they're black, whether they're Chinese, whether they're Asian, or whatever the culture is, it doesn't matter. They're a human being. They need to be, you know, treated the same, need to respect each other. Respect each other's culture is a big one. And I really did feel hurt that somebody would do that, but it goes on all the time, I know. But when it happens to you, you can, you know, it really hurts, really hurts. Like, I get criticised a lot for, I'm not saying it works all the time. Some pockets of the states do have problems, but I think it's getting better, and people need to, I think people that don't accept it, it's not because they don't accept it, it's because they're ignorant to what's going on in the world, and they don't know what's going on in the background for why they came, or and things like that. They need to open their eyes and, you know. Last summer there was a black family that lived on this stage who were actually moving down south. It was because of work that they were moving. And all the people that lived within the area, it's like a square, it's hard to describe, in that area, were so sad to see that family go. They didn't really want to go, but they had to for work commitments. Decided to have a party for them. So all the neighbours come together, all the different cultures came together. They put on, one Sunday afternoon, they put on a sort of a street party to say farewell to them, and they were overwhelmed. Everyone cooked, some people baked, some people brought their own traditional food, and there must have been about 40-50 people there with the children, all out with their deck chairs, had music going, and they made it, you know, it was a real community event. It was just in that little area, but it meant a lot to both sides, you know, to say, can I say, they didn't want to see them go.
Yeah. And
they felt accepted. They'd been accepted in the community, and they made them feel, I suppose, wanted. And they supported each other in that little sort of network, in that little community. And it was lovely. It was a lovely event for them, and it was sad to see. I'm Byker born and bred, and I love the place, and I hope everyone else that comes here finds it as positive as I do.
Well, thank you, Greta, for your time today, and just like to say thank you very much, and I really appreciate it, and I've learned a lot, some touching stories, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.